everybody. Today I'm going to share the data analysis that I've done on this particular data set. I found this data set from scrunchbase.com. It is about the startup funding case study. So there were two sheets available, that is companies and rounds. So there were different columns. There are different columns in these different Excel sheets. So here, have a look. Here, the permalink. Permalink is the unique identifier here. The name, the homepage URL, the category list. So the different sectors. This means the different sectors where the company can invest. The status, whether it is operating, closed, IPO, acquired, the country code, the code of the different countries here, the state code, the region, city, Mumbai, found at, the date is given here. So yes, this is one of the sheet, and the other sheet is rounds. This sheet is about rounds. Rounds is about the funding type. The same thing, company permalink is unique identifier here as well. And here the funding round, this is the funding round permalink, whatever the funding type and round is being used, that particular, this is the identifier for that. And here you can see the funding type are different kinds: angel, convertible note, debt financing, equity, crowdfunding, grant, non-equity, post IPO, debt, post IPO equity, so on and so forth, till this venture. Over here there are different funding round code, like as we are aware there are different levels in the funding round: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. It has gone up till H over here. So this is the funding date, and this is the most important column for any company for investment. The company looks into the raised amount here. So this is the raised amount column for different funding type and funding round code, and for this particular permalink. So what I have observed is this company permalink over here, this permalink and the permalink in this sheet, both are the unique identifiers. So what I have done is I have clubbed these extra fields regarding the funding, okay, and regarding the rounds of the funding. I have clubbed all this information to this particular, with reference to this particular permalink, which is also present in this company's sheet. So here I have used VLOOKUP and created a final master sheet. So here, this is the original sheet, right? This is the original sheet of round over here until raised amount, right? And then after that I've used the other sheet, which is the company's sheet, and which also has the company permalink as unique identifier, which is similar to this. So every identifier has its own record. So I've used VLOOKUP here, and I have gotten all the information from there over here. So basically I've just merged and clubbed both the sheets. So yeah, moving on further. Now let's observe the information given. Company permalink is the unique identifier. Funding round permalink is another identifier for the funding round. Now there are different funding types here. There are a lot of them. So now in any company that needs to invest, what is it interested in is the funding type in which it can, through which it can invest. And it also has to check the funding round code that particular company is undergoing. If it is into the higher round code, it is better to invest in that. Then it also needs to check the raised amount, that what is the amount raised by the different companies using the different funding type, and at which level their funding round code is. So all these things are taken into consideration to do any kind of investment in the companies. So here our company has basically asked us that it wants to invest 5 to 15 million into the companies, but it had few conditions that it is going to invest only between 5 to 15 million. Second thing, the company should belong to an English speaking country. Okay, this is the second condition, so we need to segregate and filter that as well. You can see here, this is the country column here, over here. So there are different countries, so we need to segregate. Right now the filter has been applied here. I'll just get back to the filter here, that why I have applied that. So yes, so the second condition was that the country should be an English speaking country, and the third condition is that we have to take out the top country amongst the English speaking country for the company to invest. And the fourth condition, or the fourth thing that the company needs, that's the business requirement basically. So it is that it wants to invest into the organizations belonging to different sectors. So there are different sectors means these category list over here. Like for example, you can see 3D printing, 3D, all these things are there. 3D technology, then accounting, uh, active lifestyle, um, advertising, analytics, all these things are there here, and so on and so forth. There are many sectors out here: web hosting, web tools, weddings, wholesale, wireless, water, wipe, video game, vacation, transportation, translation, travel, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of sectors, so they want to know the top sectors where the investment is mostly done, and the amongst them the top companies in every sector where the investment is done. So this is the need or the business requirement of the company. It needs that after the from the data analysis to be performed on this particular data set. So what I've done is I have just prepared the data set just as it is. Now I've just checked all the fields, that here there is no blank field, here there is no blank field, over here also there is no blank field. Yep. And in funding round code there are blank fields, but yes, it is understandable that maybe it is not in a particular funding road level maybe yet, so we cannot mention the code for the funding round. So that's okay, maybe it is not in some level, so the blank field are understandable. So funding date is also, it's the it's blank free, there is no blanks. Over here in raised amount also there are a few blank fields here, but I cannot work with the blank fields here because the raised amount is super important. So I just unchecked these blank fields so that to take out those rows for my data analysis, because I don't need those rows, because I can't perform or any kind of analysis on the blank rows in this particular crucial column. And also I've unchecked zero, because company which has been invested zero amount is, it's equal to a blank field. I mean, there's no need to do analysis on that. Okay. Then over here there are some other fields: homepage URL, the name, all these things, they don't have any kind of blank fields here. The category list, list as well, it doesn't have any blank fields here. The status, now the status, you can see that I've applied a filter here, because there are four kinds of status: acquired, closed, IPO, and operating. Now I've unchecked closed because I'm not interested in the closed status, uh, the status that has been closed for a particular company, because if it is closed, why to invest on that, because it's not in an operating or working condition. So acquired, IPO, operating is fine, so I've just selected those. So here I have gotten a more filtered data. Again, in country code, after filtering the status, the country automatically got filtered. Some of the data got unchecked here as well. And the state code, again the same thing. After I've filtered some data here, some data from here got filtered automatically. And rest are the fields. Okay, the founded at city, region, state code, all these things are there. Okay, no problem. So here uh, I have checked all the information and understood all the information regarding this sheet. Now I know what I need to do. So first I will proceed towards modeling. I'll try. I understood the business requirements. I understood the conditions that they need to be fulfilled during the data analysis. The third thing, I've understood the data. Now I'll be moving on to my analysis. So here what I've done is I have taken out this I've taken a pivot table uh, for the master data set to find out the most um, the best funding type for the company to invest in. Okay, so there are different companies and different funding types. Okay, so I've just selected the funding type in the columns, sorry, in the rows. So the overall unique values funding type are being displayed over here. Here are the raised amounts. These are the average raised amounts of these particular funding type. There were a lot of them, but I reduced them to say to say top 10 or top 12 over here. Now I remembered the condition given by the company that they wanted to invest only between 5 million to 15 million. So I applied a conditional formatting here to find the amounts that lied between the condition given, that's 5 million to 15 million. So I found these three funding types here: unclosed, debt financing, and venture funding type. So I'm pretty sure that we need to work within these to do a further data analysis. So for undisclosed, uh, it is not disclosed by the company. Yes, some company needs to preserve its confidential information, so they haven't disclosed, but we still can't work. We cannot sit and guess that what kind of funding type they might be using. It will be very it'll be next to impossible to guess. So we can omit this undisclosed category. Then we can move on to debt financing. Of course, if some company is already in debt and is getting a finance and is under the death condition, so why to invest in such companies? So I would like to omit this company as well. But venture is a third option, and it is a pretty great option. It satisfies my condition of the investment between 5 million to 15 million, and the funding type is pretty much common. So yes, I'm going on with the venture. So my answer to the company that the best funding type where it can do the investment within the condition that it stated, 5 to 15 million of amount to be invested, is venture funding type. So yes, now I'll do all my analysis considering the funding type to be venture further. So now over here what I've done is I've created another pivot table. I had applied a filter in the pivot table where I had uh, taken where I had deselected all and selected only the venture data, like over here, see, because venture is my result of the previous analysis. So yes, we have to work only in this data. I'm interested in this data now. So here what I've done is I have, in this funding type, as you can see, I've applied a filter and only the venture data over here, see, you can see in the filters funding type I have selected only ventures, rest of the things are deselected. And now here what you can see is there were a lot of countries. Of course, there are not just these countries, so there were a lot of countries, but I just reduced it to top 5 because they just wanted top 3 countries. So still I reduced it to top 5 and the sum of the raised amounts. So I just calculated the total amount raised by the country in all different sectors. So here this is the result. And again, there was China amongst this. I omitted China over here, as you can see here in this filter. Look, CHM, I took out China because China was on third It was in third, it was in the second or third rank in this list. But China is again a non-English speaking country, as the list that had been provided by the company. So there, the China was not amongst the English speaking country, but the condition was they wanted the English speaking country for investment. So I omitted China, but rest of the countries look good. USA, Great Britain, India, Canada, uh, here, all these countries, they are English speaking, they are top, they are amongst the top ranking categories, and these are the sum of the raised amount. So I took out a pie chart out of this, and here we can see a huge 90%. Over here you can see 90% of this data, of this raised amount, is showing that it's the highest in USA. So instead of giving top three options to the company, I would rather suggest that all three options would be USA, USA, USA. You only invest in USA, because look, you can see a massive difference here. But yet, we were asked to take out top three countries, so okay, we would go with that. So USA, here you can see 3% is Great Britain, and 3% it is India. So yeah, my answer to that question would be the top three countries to the raised amount, to the maximum raised amount, is USA, Great Britain, and India. So this was the reply. This was the answer. But the suggestion that I made was that USA should be the only option where they can invest in a lot of companies, because here the figures say everything. So this thing was sorted about the countries. So so on and so forth. We have sorted about the funding type, which is venture, and the second thing about the country, which is USA. In third category, what I've done is I have uh, considered three filters here. Okay, the first filter is about the country. So as we've seen previously, I have only selected USA. Okay, I'm interested only in the records that belong to the country USA. The funding round code, i have selected I have selected the higher rounding codes, that companies that are into their higher rounding levels, like D, E, F, G, H. I've considered these ones and unchecked the lower levels here, so we can get a more filtered data as the company is interested in the higher amounts for investment. And the funding type, as we have taken out in the previous pivot table, that venture is the best funding type to for investment. So I've taken down three filters and found a and it created a pivot table about the categories. Categories are the sectors of the of different organizations. There are different sectors. There was a big lot of list here, but I had reduced it to top 10 over here, because they again asked the top, they want some top sectors for investment. And again, I've taken out the sum of raised amount in front of those sectors over here, as you can see. So these are the respective raised amounts of this sector. Again, I've arranged and sorted it in descending order over here. So I found out that biotechnology is the highest, where the money is, where the amount is raised. Highest amount is raised in the sector of biotechnology, then automotive, analytics, health, clean, advertising, and so on and so forth. So these are the sectors. Now what I need to do is the final answer, the final things that the company needs to know, the companies where it can invest, okay, in all sectors. So now I found out the sectors, the country that I'm interested in, the funding round that I'm interested in, the funding type I'm interested in, and the sectors I'm interested in. Now next I'm going to go and find the companies here. Boom. Now these are the companies belonging to every sectors. Like for example, in biotechnology, I've created a slicer of those top 10 categories, the sectors over here. And the biotechnology, if I click on biotechnology, it will show the top 10 organizations where the sum of amount raised is the highest. Okay, so here you can see like stem centrics in biotechnology is the highest, where you can also see this in this donut over here. So here it is best if it invests in this stem centrics Okay, in automotive, it's Uber. Like over here, 77% is being occupied by Uber here, so it's the best option for investment in automotive sector. Over here in analytics, it's 35% of Cloudera. So yes, it's the best option for investment in Cloudera. In health sector, it can invest in pharmaceutical. It's the highest where this of the raised amount. In the sector clean, Great Point Energy, advertising, Groupon. In enterprise sector, Pure Storage. In cloud sector, Box. Next option is Spotify, which is quite close. So yes, it can also consider to invest in Spotify as well over here. So it's 18%, right? And Spotify and DocuSign both have equal percentage. So yes, it can consider an investment of in these three companies over here, as they have raised pretty much of amount. The next sector is e-commerce. Flipkart is the huge, massive. It has occupied the massive percentage over here, so it must invest in Flipkart. Okay, curated curated field, in the field of design, and what you can say is customizing things around and creativity basically. So Pinterest is on the highest. It backs the first place here. So Pinterest is the company that I suggest in my data analysis. Is they should think of considering Pinterest for investing money. Okay, so these are the top 10 sectors in my slicer, and whenever I click on every slicer over here, the different I could see the different companies, the distribution of the amount, the sum of the raised amount in the different companies and their percentages. I've deliberately taken percentages here so that the person who is actually reading this pie chart, it's easy for that person to understand. So the company's got all its answers. Now I need to just arrange all these answers in a particular format where the company understands. So what I've done is, I've created a write up for this. So here in the write up, I first stated all the business understanding. The company wants to invest in some huge companies, considering the most common funding type being seen used for the investment, which we already took out to be with the venture type, right? The company wants to invest between 5 million to 15 million. Yes, I've stated that condition already. Companies that belong to English speaking countries, and the companies where it is highly invested by others. Yes, I've mentioned about this as well. Finding the trend of the most invested companies country wise and funding type wise. USA and venture that we analyzed in our data. Then data understanding, we took out the data set which was available on the scrunchbase.com. Here I observed the data set first, try to understand the meaning of all the columns and how they could be related, to see some trend. I also found that there were many blank fields present in formatting was needed along with the reading blanks. That's what we talked about before. So here the data set consists of two different Excel sheets that I already told you about, grounds and companies. I merged those sheets using the identifier, that's company permalink, using the VLOOKUP function. Okay. Um I made one master sheet. So after that, and data preparation, what I did was I did some feature engineering. I did some filtering basically, not even feature engineering here. uh, I observed the blank field. I just applied a filter to take out the significant data, which is I unchecked the blank fields in the country, because country is super important, as well as the raised amounts. So I unchecked those blank fields in the filter for better analysis. And it was this file, when I received it, was available in the CSV format, that is comma separated value. So I first made it in the readable format in Excel. So that's where I've done a bit of cleaning over there to look more neat and presentable. I corrected the date format in that was format in the founded column. I deselected closed, that we've already discussed in the status. We are not interested in the companies that are currently closed. The status is showing closed. Okay, we want the companies on and up operating ones. So yes, there I've applied some filter. I deselected the blanks in the country that we have discussed and amount, because these two are very crucial columns for the analysis. And rest things, yeah, we have all discussed about the other things. Then in evaluation, as I've told you, that I've evaluated first the funding type and found out that venture was the best funding type, created pivot and did all the I checked using the pivot, and yes, I found the best funding type. I found the everything is written in detail over here, that I found three options: ventured, undisclosed, and debt financing, and why we took out the undisclosed and debt financing from our options and considered venture funding type. Now here what I did was, after that, I took out the top three English speaking countries, that's USA, Great Britain, and India, out of which USA is 90%. This is most important information. 90% most invested country, compared to 3% and 2% in Great Britain and India. So my suggestion, invest in USA. So with such a great difference, my analysis, I focused on only the winner. The winner here is USA, clear winner, and in investing is venture, the funding type. So yes, the further analysis was considered using these, and yes, I found out the sectors, the top 10 sectors where the investment can be done, and it will be very fruitful. So under these sectors also, I've found the best organizations over here. These are the answers that we've discussed. So basically, company can get this. So thank you.